Most people think world leaders are created by talent. They're not. They're created by environments, networks, and institutions powerful enough to shape how entire generations think. And some universities have quietly produced more presidents, billionaires, CEOs, Nobel Prize winners, and global decision-makers than entire countries. But here's the uncomfortable part. The world's most influential universities aren't just teaching students anymore. They're shaping the future of power itself. When people rank universities, they usually focus on prestige, rankings, or academic scores. But that misses the bigger story. Because the universities on this list don't just produce smart graduates, they create systems of influence. They shape political ideologies, economic structures, global technology, and even the people who eventually run nations. This ranking is based on long-term global influence, leadership pipelines, billionaire alumni, political impact, innovation, elite networks, and cultural power. And some of these universities are far more influential than most people realize. Welcome to 10 Things Now, a growing community built for people who want to understand how the world really works. From global systems to hidden truths, 10 Things Now helps you learn faster and think deeper. 10 things you should know, now. Number 10. University of Tokyo, Japan. Most people see Japan as a country driven by discipline and technology. But behind that discipline is an educational system designed to create national stability and elite leadership from an early age. The University of Tokyo has produced prime ministers, top bureaucrats, and many of the people quietly shaping Japan's economy behind the scenes. And this is where things get interesting. Japan doesn't just educate for success. It educates for social responsibility, something many countries are now struggling to maintain. Number 9. University of Chicago, USA. Most people associate leadership universities with flashy tech founders or billionaire entrepreneurs. The University of Chicago took a very different path. This school became one of the most powerful intellectual engines in economics, politics, and global policy, influencing governments worldwide through ideas most people never even hear about. And whether people realize it or not, some of the economic systems shaping your life today were born in classrooms here. Number 8. Tsinghua University, China. For years, Western universities dominated the global conversation, but China quietly built something different. Tsinghua University has become one of the strongest pipelines for political leaders, engineers, AI researchers, and future global strategists in Asia. And almost nobody notices how fast this shift is happening, because while other countries debate the future, China is engineering it. Number 7. University of Oxford, United Kingdom. People think Oxford is famous because it's old. That's not why it's powerful. Oxford mastered something far more valuable: elite networks. Prime ministers, scientists, philosophers, kings, and world leaders have all passed through the same centuries-old system. And this creates something dangerous: influence that survives generations. At this point, this stops feeling like a university ranking, and starts feeling like a map of how global power is quietly transferred from one generation to the next. Because the higher we go, the more influence these institutions seem to control. Number 6. National University of Singapore, Singapore. Singapore is tiny, but its educational influence is massively disproportionate to its size. The National University of Singapore became a strategic machine for producing disciplined leaders, global business thinkers, and high-level innovators in one of the world's most efficient societies. But here's the part many countries fail to understand. Singapore doesn't treat education as self-expression first. It treats it as national survival. Number 5. Stanford University, USA. Most people think Stanford creates entrepreneurs. That's only half the story. Stanford helped build Silicon Valley itself, influencing the technology, algorithms, AI systems, and platforms now shaping how billions of people think, communicate, and consume information every day. Wait, what? A university helped reshape global human behavior. That's not education anymore, that's civilization-level influence. Number 4. Harvard University, USA. Harvard isn't just a university. It's a global status symbol. Presidents, billionaires, Supreme Court justices, CEOs, media executives, and political strategists all move through the same elite ecosystem, forming relationships that often matter more than the degrees themselves. And this is where it gets uncomfortable, because access to powerful networks can sometimes shape the future more than intelligence alone. Now the list becomes less about education, and more about who controls the future. Because the next universities don't just produce successful people, they influence governments, global finance, technological revolutions, and the direction of entire societies. Number 3. University of Cambridge, United Kingdom. Cambridge helped shape modern science itself. From Isaac Newton to Stephen Hawking, this university became a breeding ground for minds that changed how humanity understands reality. But the real power of Cambridge isn't intelligence alone. It's intellectual legacy, because ideas created centuries ago inside these walls still influence technology, physics, medicine, and economics today. Very few institutions on Earth can say that. Number 2. Massachusetts Institute of Technology, USA. MIT doesn't just follow the future. It builds it. Artificial intelligence, robotics, cybersecurity, aerospace, advanced computing. Some of the technologies transforming human civilization were accelerated by researchers connected to this institution. And here's the disturbing part. The people shaping tomorrow's technology are increasingly shaping politics, economics, privacy, and even human behavior itself. Which means technological leadership is becoming global leadership. But there's one university whose influence reaches almost everywhere: politics, finance, media, technology, global diplomacy. And its real power isn't just intelligence, it's access. Number 1. Harvard plus its global elite network. Yes, Harvard appeared earlier. But what makes it number 1 isn't academics alone. It's the network effect. Few institutions on Earth connect future presidents, billionaire founders, policymakers, diplomats, media executives, and global investors at this scale. And once you understand that, you realize something shocking. The most powerful universities don't just teach knowledge. They quietly decide who gets proximity to power. And proximity to power can change the world faster than intelligence ever could. Bonus fact: since you stayed until this point, you deserve something most people never hear about. Many global leaders were not necessarily the smartest students in their universities. They were often the people who mastered relationships, influence, communication, and strategic positioning. That changes the entire way most people think about success. Because the real advantage of elite universities may not be education itself, but the invisible networks formed inside them. And those networks can shape governments, industries, and even history for decades. So here's the real question: are world leaders created by intelligence? Or by access to the right systems, people, and environments? And if universities shape the future this much, who's really shaping the universities? If this changed how you see education, power, or influence, there's a lot more waiting for you on 10 Things Now. Because some of the world's biggest systems are far stranger than they first appear.